Gamespot gives Konosuba a really, really bad review in the new movie here. 4 out of 10, just because one joke wasn't woke enough. And there is so much stuff that is wrong in this review. If we go over here, because it's wrong, they don't understand anime characters, don't understand anime tropes, they don't understand what actual gender this character is, Sylvia. They don't understand basic comedy. You know, you do some jokes right, some are bad, some are good, and you know, hit and miss right. And is the movie bad because one joke was bad, and so on. So there's lots to break down here. So I'm talking about then the GameSpot review, right, which of course is this one here, about. So we have the whole part here, right, that yes, the main bad guy is a Futanari. That's the first thing right away. The main bad guy isn't even trans. So the problem we have is the character is transphobic, to say the joke. But it isn't really a transphobic joke, even if the character was a trans character. But the character isn't human, she's a classic Futanari, I'll talk about it soon. But I think the biggest thing immediately here, though, is they're claiming that Aqua, my highlight point here, is Aqua is tsundere. Aqua isn't fucking tsundere. This is the dumbest thing ever. Even if you ignore the whole trans thing, this here immediately shows you that the viewer has no idea what anime is, right? No, this is Aqua. This is Aqua. She's a crazy woman. Aqua is an extremely emotional, never hiding her emotions. This is Aqua. Aqua isn't tsundere. It's ridiculous. Aqua is tsundere. You know what tsundere is? So tsundere then is the classic, the classic angry girl that likes, like, is in love with the main character, but won't admit it. And that's a tsundere character. Someone that's like, I don't think I like you, but I mean, I can't, I didn't do it because, that's a tsundere character. I think Naru Vladimir put the first tsundere one. So, and this is so weird, because if you read the text here at GameSpot, even their own text here doesn't, this is not Aqua. Even the own text is not Aqua. So Aqua, it's a stubborn tsundere, a Japanese term to describe someone who's normally argumentative and aggressive. I guess that's probably true. To hide a true caring nature. That is not Aqua. That is not Aqua. Aqua isn't hiding her true nature. Aqua is incredibly open with her nature. Aqua is like people call it youth and so on, but basically, Aqua is very, very in the front emotional character, always showing her a true self, right? That is Aqua, yeah. That's Aqua. Crying, being sad, and so on. That is Aqua. Aqua is the one that always fights people, but not because she's tsundere. No, because she is an honest, open character that it's... And yes, she cares about Kazuma and the other ones to some degree, but she's not in love with Kazuma, and she's not hiding her emotions at all, and so on. So it is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous statement. But anyway, that immediately there should tell you that they have no idea what they are talking about. They have just no idea what we're talking about. But anyway, they reviewed Bomb It not because they don't understand the tsundere thing, right, but because they don't understand what a futa is. I think that's the biggest thing. So the second part then, right, is what is a trans... Sylvia isn't a trans character. That's the biggest thing, right? That's the biggest thing. She's a freaking Futanari, a hermaphrodite, yeah. This is Sylvia, right? So this, of course, is the spooner from Run Run, or like she's a monster girl with some extra package, right? And when the Futa comes for you, you better be scared, yeah. And that's kind of funny too, because is it really transphobic? Even if you assume that, yeah, it's like, sure, like, even if she was a trans character, you can't force your sexuality on someone, right? So that's kind of weird too. It's like, what's that wrong? But anyway, more on that later. I think the first issue here clearly is that she is clearly a Futanari character, Konosuba has a lot of course, a lot of hentai jokes, right? A lot of edgy jokes and so on. And it's a very standard genre then in hentai is the Futanari genre, which means that there's a character that is both a man and a woman, right? And what I mean with that is that a Futanari doesn't transition into being a Futanari, right? So Sylvia has both genders. She is both a man and a woman at the same time. That means that she is, or he is, always that. So the author is completely wrong here. So the author claims that the author claims, right, that it's like Sylvia is in transition. See it again here. Sylvia is in transitioning from. The author writes here, right, that yeah, like Sylvia is in kind of like a man to a female, right, in that part, still has the dick left, but that's completely wrong, and the author clearly doesn't know anime or hentai or whatever, right? The author doesn't know what he's talking about. No, Sylvia is clearly a classic futa character, which is a very, very common character, right, in agenda and hentai and so on, and there's some other, of course, there is some futanari characters in some anime and so on, surely. And again, what it means is that literally this joke isn't transphobic because the character isn't trans. so logically it falls itself right on the logic of actually a trans character. And you can see here from the author's like description of it that doesn't understand what we're talking about. And further again, right, it is a monster girl, right? She's not a human, she's a monster girl, and it's a very, very classic genre that you have the monster musume being a futanari. That's very, very common. That's very, very common. And furthermore, again, you have the classic futanari, the typical succubus. It is a futanari, and she will, then make love to the male main character with her cock, right? Yeah. So it's a futanari on male, yeah. It's a typical, quite the popular genre. And that is clearly what the joke here is. That Sylvia is seducing Kazuma, right? Hiding that she's also a he on the same time, not a trans character, but both genders, and monster girls then, so to speak, monster musumes that don't have genders, or they have both genders, they see every human as, as sex, because, well, they don't have the gender concept, so they're gonna sleep with either gender, right? From the human perspective, they're like, oh my god, you're this thing, but from their perspective, there is no gender, they sleep with everyone, right? So that's why they're usually gonna come there, and they're gonna fuck the male main character, right? And then Kazuma is like, I don't wanna be, I'm not into that, He gets afraid, right? Because, as everyone know, right, if the if the futa calls for you, and she goes hard on you, she's probably gonna, gender bend you and everything, right? And Kazuma isn't really into that thing when they kabad on you or whatever, right? So it all doesn't really make any sense. The joke isn't really even that mean. The joke isn't really that and again, it's joking about it's joking about the trans stuff. So it's weird. It's really weird. But anyway, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's let's go deeper on this stuff, right? Because it's really pisses me off. So anyway, obviously, I am part of the Axis cult, right? Of course, I actually read Konosuba, and I have the novels and so on, right? Amazing, of course, the best anime ever. I doubt the reviewer has anything to do that, or Gamespot, or whatever, or people defending it, likely has no understanding of Konosuba and so on, right? But I think there is so many issues here. Without this being an Axis cult member, I have also had the experience of dating transsexual people in real life. I have, I don't identify as cis or whatever if you're going to that thing. I of course identify as a futanari. But yeah, and so on, right? Maybe not a video, but I even once dated a transsexual porn actress. But that's not the video. It's not the video. My point here is that there's so much wrong with this review take on it, because why can't you joke about trans people, right? Trans folks, whatever, yeah. And for example, I have this great friend of mine. She's a lesbian, and she's very, very aggressive. And I mean, like a tomboy. She's very muscular, and she's a fighter, and she's a great person. But she's very, very aggressive. Okay, and she would beat me up, right? If she was like, oh, you can't. If I was like holding back on a gay joke, that's a great gay joke. She's like, oh, you just yeah. She would punch me in the face, right? Literally. And I don't even say that. Yeah, she's very, very aggressive. She's basically she's like maximum tomboy, right? You know what I mean? And to me, I think that also is really insulting with this review, right? Because it's like, no, you can't joke about trans characters because they are special and they are weak and so on, right? Like, I take offense to the whole notion, right? Like, why can't you joke about someone's sexual? What can you joke about stereotypes? So on? Yeah, you can joke about everything. Of course, you joke about everything. I'm an absolute in joking that everything is allowed to be joked on, and especially again, right? As I know a lot of, again myself, but not just anecdotal, but also know a lot of people that are trans and lesbian or gay or whatever and so on, right? And yeah, I kind of say that, yeah, when I say gay, I mean men, I guess. And I guess, so whatever. And they want to be accepted in society, right? And if you could joke about them, then yeah, that's kind of like not accepting them. It's kind of like everyone's equal, but someone is more equal, right? It's the whole class thing there. And that just makes, in my opinion at least, and I think everyone I know that is not cisgender, they want to be joked about. I don't mean like joked about, put them down, but generally, give or take, right? Yeah. So otherwise, you keep acting like they aren't humans, like there's something else. Like, we have to treat them with, kidding gloves, yeah. So I take great offense to that, and I think everyone I talk to that I know take offense to that. You can't do trans jokes, yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And it's really insulting, and it's ridiculous. So already from that standpoint, right, I really hate this kind of view. I really hate it because it's like, look at me, I'm so woke, right? Yeah, you have no understanding of how it normally works. And I think that's a typical thing too, because usually you see these super woke takes, right, or SUV takes or whatever, unironic SUV, yeah. And usually it's, from people that have no actual experience or so on, right? And kind of like the typical sitting on, I'm gonna be offended on someone else's behalf, yeah, it's very classic that. So that I think is ridiculous in itself, and I said immediately here. So I'm also an Axis cult member, but also a member of that community, right? So I think it's ridiculous. Of course, there are some people that don't want to be joked about. They think, it should be defended, but they're dead wrong. No, but like, of course you can have an opinion if you want to, right? But you can always have an opinion about anything, right? There are people that don't want you to be allowed to joke about religion, right? The people don't want to be, you should be able to joke about any kind of racial stereotypes or whatever, right? And I think that's fine. Jesus Christ, yes, I know that I'm mostly pale white, right? But still, I think it's like, of course you joke about anything, It's like if someone joke about my sexual orientation, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty funny, or like, yeah, and this thing and so on, and stuff like that, right? So, and for that matter, if you joke, my favorite genre is Futanari male, so put some jokes about yeah, give me some jokes about that, yeah. And I think it's hilarious. But so that's one big issue, right? And then we have the comedy issue, which I think is also ridiculous. This review has everything wrong with this review. And I think there's so much wrong. As I mentioned, the Tsundere thing, immediately, Aqua isn't Tsundere. Aqua is not Tsundere. It's not a Tsundere freaking t-shirt. Aqua is incredibly not Tsundere. So that's ridiculous and so on, right? But the other thing is so irritating is the whole comedy review part, right? So Konosuba is a comedy movie, clearly. Konosuba, in my opinion, is the best comedy anime ever. So obviously I'm kind of biased, but I think it's an amazing comedy anime. The movie is great as well. I love the movie, of course. I love everything with Konosuba. But Konosuba is a great comedy movie, in my opinion. But we have to at least all agree on it's a comedy, right? We can argue and say, you hate stuff, or this is bad, and so on, right? But we have to at least, I think everyone can agree on it's a comedy genre, at least. And if you talk about comedy, a comedy video or movie or a stand-up or something, right, is hit and miss, right? Hit and miss. I have some experience with comedy stand-up and so on, and I feel I'm quite entertaining. But whatever, when you do jokes, right, you don't know if they're actually always gonna work, right? And you do a movie, you're gonna have like say you have 100 jokes in the movie, and maybe 5 of them are really bad. Like, that's not funny at all. Maybe someone's even a little raunchy. It's like, that's not even a joke about, yeah. But the other 95 are really funny. I would probably give that movie a 9500, right? Kind of like that, yeah, because if you're gonna argue as from a comedy standpoint, I think that's the fair thing to do here in a comedy movie, right? You have to argue how funny is the movie in general. So I think that's also ridiculous in this review. Ridiculous. And it's really stupid. Because he should at least be aware of, and he seems to be aware of in the review here in Gamespot, that it's a comedy movie again, right? So even if it's like, that joke is transphobic, so you can't do that joke, it breaks everything, the whole movie is bad. That's complete bullshit, right? Because even if that joke was the worst thing ever, and I mean in comedy level, not like how it's, controversial, but it's comedy level, yeah. If all the other jokes are great, which they are, in my opinion at least, but I'm biased, but in my opinion, that was the funny joke, and others are also funny. So even if the joke is bad, let's assume it's bad, the rest is funny. The movie in total is a great comedy movie, right? Maybe it's the perfect comedy movie, because it had one bad joke and 99 good jokes, so it's not 100 of 100, but it's like a 9 or 10, right? Yeah. So I think that also, I think it's so ridiculous. The comedy standpoint is like, the comedy movie is like 4 out of 10 because one joke was offensive. And like, yeah, but comedy usually is offensive. And comedy, it has to push the boundary and so on, right? And that's kind of what makes Konosuba, especially Konosuba, is funny. Because it's not politically correct, because it pushes the boundaries. So, but anyway, so from that logical standpoint, I think it's complete, utter bullshit to give it a bad review as well, right? Regardless of not knowing what a tsundere is, not understand that Sylvia is clearly a monster girl Futanari. Which again, it's a very common anime, hentai manga thing that you have monster musume. For example, last week I wrote this new game character in my game I'm working on. And she then is a tree character, right? a plant humanoid. And if you didn't know that, but plants like trees and so on, right? They usually have, or I think almost every plant and flower have both genders. They both have the pistil and so on. They both have the penis and the vagina of a plant. So you can both send out seeds, right, with the wind usually, or with bees and so on, with flowers, but with trees is the wind. And then they can, impregnate other trees with their flowers. And then their own flowers can also be impregnated and get fruit and so on, right? So trees have both genders, if you compare it to humans, right? So in this game I'm writing on them, this like I said, yeah, plant humanoid character, of course, has both a vagina and a penis, right? Because it's like a tree human. So yeah, of course you can have both genders. Of course you can be a Futanari, and that character. I'm the author though, so I can say that character is not trans, right? That character is born like this, and they never consider anything else. And this character has sex with both male and females of other races. And the world is human in this world, but they're sex with other races because this character growing up had other, plant tree friends and so on, right? And he has two mothers, so to speak, yeah, two whatever, yeah, and so on, right? And never really considered that there is like a difference between, gender A and gender B. For this character, it's just like, I want to have sex with, yeah. So it's just weird. It's weird, and it feels like also insulting then from the reviewer not understanding kind of the intersexual, Futanari, hermaphrodite kind of storyline, right? That kind of thing, which again is common in anime and Japanese stuff and so on, for sure, right? So that's a problem as well, right? And I think it's so obvious, it's a problem as well. But I think another problem then with the whole Sylvia thing, and obviously Sylvia is super hot, right, and so on, and it's classic, except for Nori, and she probably has like an audience and it's only semen in her lungs or whatever, yeah. But another thing, right, that I think is so common with these things, is of course that the author, and I find this so common too with people that are complaining about stuff, is a very common trope, I feel. Trope as a meta trope, right? That they're like, I love like Street Fighter, but this new female character, is this Poison? She ruins the game for me. I love Poison for that. I haven't posted obviously my favorite character. Oh, I love Poison. I have a huge Poison, but yeah, I love Poison. Man, I love Poison. Yeah, if you're gonna seduce me, dress as Poison, cosplay as Poison. That's the best way, yeah. But, it's also someone like, yeah, I used to like this thing, but no, I don't like it anymore. It's very common, right? And they claim that I used to be this fan, but not a fan anymore, yeah. And I think with Konosuba in particular, it's so kind of funny. When the author is like, oh, well, wait for season 3 because Konosuba is failing. And well, I mean, that's right, of course, darkness, right? Have you ever seen darkness in Konosuba? Have you ever seen this crazy woman that's like always trying to be, there we go. It's always trying to be assaulted. Yeah, and I feel that is all ridiculous too. Because I feel that's also, and think about it, right? It's like, so Sylvia isn't actually trans, literally isn't. But if you ignore that and assume that Sylvia is trans, which she isn't, but let's assume for argument's sake that Sylvia is a trans character. Okay, let's go with that. So the anime, according to this author, and to people defending the author, right, which is a few of them, but a few defending it, right, apparently this crossed the line, yeah, oh, Sylvia, transphobic, oh, bad, but every damn joke with darkness trying to get art, darkness trying to be sexually enslaved, darkness trying to be like, monster tentacles, yeah, and so on, all the time darkness trying to, get laid in the most machistic way ever, which is clearly not PC, it's clearly not woke, right? How is that fine? I'm just throwing it up there. How is that fine? And I just really hate that too, because I'm like, So either you're telling me that you were okay with every damn R joke with darkness, like constant R joke with her, right? You're okay with all the, the insane darkness jokes, and her like, I wanna be married to Kazuma, and he's gonna be like, throwing bots in my face, and be like, go and sell yourself and get, drink some semen and then come back and like, yeah, it's like, that's my dream to be defined and so on, yeah. That's apparently it's completely fine. That's like, no, that's woke, that's SUV, whatever, that's fine with them. But doing one trans joke, oh my god, no. Oh, no, I have to burn it all down, right? Burn the book down, yeah. Delete the file, but yeah, burn the book down. That's to me is incredibly weird too. Incredibly weird. How you have this anime or whatever this review is like, well, I love this anime. I loved it. Nothing was everything was so PC before. But then suddenly, one joke about Sylvia, I'm like, no, yeah. It doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. I mean, okay, it makes sense that you don't like trans people. That's honestly my take on it. What you're telling me is that you could joke about, a machistic white woman trying to get hard all the time. That's fine, yeah. That's fine, I can handle that. But if you do one single joke about a trans character, then it means that the trans people has to be protected, right? So I think that's very offensive. That is my take on it. That's my personal take on it. I feel offended from my, again, identifying in that kind of category, I feel offended by that. It's telling me that I or my friends and so on, people I know and so on, whatever, can't handle jokes about being trans, right? But you can joke about, a female always trying to do that. Or like Megumin exploding stuff and then having like an orgasm every time she explodes stuff, yeah. Or so on, right? Like, that's fine, yeah, that's fine to joke about. But you can't joke about that thing, right? So I think that's really, really, really offensive. It's an offensive article in that sense. And as I mentioned earlier, of course, several times, it really means that you're looking down trans people. You can't be a transsexual person and, being allowed to joke about. And I think it's very clear if you go from that perspective, right? We're talking about Konosuba here, one of the most offensive non-PC animes ever. And also, of course, on that notion, I think, so either for me, right, this author and the Gamespot or whatever, they are just completely, absurdly, against trans jokes because it's the worst you can do ever, right? For some reason, right? Either that's the truth, or I have to say this thing though, defending them, but still obviously wrong. The much more probable truth is that this person is not a Konosuba fan, right? He's never read Konosuba, he's never watched Konosuba before probably, and has no idea what Konosuba is. He might see that very briefly, like, whatever, like, yeah. And then he's pretending to like it, right? I think that's probably more likely, right? It's probably a lot more likely, I have to say. He's probably isn't really, really into the weird. He's probably doesn't, yeah, it's like the classic, oh, I'm a fan of this anime, but this part was bad, and this ruined the anime for me, or something. Like, yeah, come on. It's very likely this person is not a fan, has no idea what it is. I mean, clearly he keeps calling Aqua Tsundere, so I think that's probably much more likely. But, yeah, it's ridiculous. And also one last notion that I want to mention then, of course, that is the classic gender equality, right? And this is way too big, so I'll put it down here. Well, yeah, and that, of course, is that as Dalton's saying here, but Kazuma is the gender equality guy. And I think that's kind of funny too. I think that's really funny, right? The whole thing there, because why wouldn't Kazuma, hate on Sylvia or her or him, whatever you want to call it then. I guess they're calling it her, but I would say Sylvia's a Futanari. But usually you prefer the female, I suppose. But like, why isn't that okay for? And why do you expect that? Yeah, Kazuma is, bullshitting everyone. Kazuma is telling everyone that they're idiots and so on, right, constantly. And so I feel it's like, of course Kazuma's gonna be like, get away from you, crazy Futa! Yeah, of course he's gonna be like, I don't wanna become, as a kind of cross-dresser, sex slave, yeah, let go of me, yeah, because, spoilers, what usually happens, right, if a Futa gets to you, in his common hentai, right, is that she will have sex with you, and then we see the character kind of transition into then becoming like a woman or like a trap or whatever. It's pretty common, right? It's pretty common, yeah. Even especially if you are against it and she kind of arse the male character, she kind of force feminize the character, right? It's pretty common. It's pretty, I would say that's one of the most common genres by now with Futanari, except not Futanari though, which has always been one of the biggest hentais forever. But like a sub-genre of Futanari, Futanari male and Futanari male feminizing the main character, very, very common. Very, very common, right? And that's clearly what the anime joking about, right? Because the anime, Konosuba keeps joking about, you know, hentai and anime, that's all right, very clearly. So, of course, Kazuma is gonna be like, I don't wanna be that, yeah, and the joke pretty fine. And, you know, he's gender equality guy, he hates on everyone, right? So that I think it's funny too, in this review, that he's complaining about the girls too. So I think that's funny too, because, I mean, why is he complaining about these three ladies, right? I think that's funny in a way too. It's like, why? Yeah, it's like, that to me is strange too, honestly. And probably because he's not an actual Konosuba fan. But it's like, the author seems to argue that it's extra transphobic. Not just because Kazuma is gender equality, as we all know he is, right? Not to say that Kazuma, he kicks women in the face and men in the face, right? He's completely gender equality, right? Yeah. And if you ignore that thing, if you ignore what Kazuma did, the author is claiming then that, oh, it's extra transphobic because each of the girls are accepting him back so easily, right? And that's mean they also hate trans people or something, even though she's a Futanari, etc., and she's a monster girl and so on and so forth. But if you ignore all that, okay, ignore that. Has he ever seen Konosuba? Has he ever noticed how, like, darkness, again, is a masochistic, sadist, kind of masochistic, weirdo hentai girl that wants to get art all the time? And it's like, Kazuma, I take you back because, yeah, you know how she's, right? And Aqua, not a tsundere. A tsundere would be like, you know, screw you, I don't want to save you even though I like you. Yeah, that would be a tsundere. You know, that would be a tsundere. But Aqua is much more like this. Aqua's more like, yeah, you wanna come back, bitch? Yeah, you come back, but then you owe me money. Yeah. That's Aqua. Aqua is more like, you know, oh, I can take you back, but then you owe me a favor or two. Yeah, that's for Aqua, right? And Megumin is kind of like, you know, oh, can I explode her later? Yeah, no, but Megumin, you know, she's kind of nice to him, back and forth, so yeah. So, and also, you know, they all need him for their adventure and so on. Right? So of course they take him back, because you're all horrible people. I mean, that's the dumbest thing too, I feel. It's like, why is it extra bad that these three female characters would take him back when they all know it, that they're all like crying, you know, idiots, and you know how Aqua is, right? Yeah, she's always like, no, Kazuma, please love me. If anything, she has like a weird, you know, there's like a weird codependency. She's not called on yandere with him, but there's like a weird. She wants Kazuma to acknowledge her, right? Clearly she does, yeah. So there's like a weird codependent need for his approval, right? Some kind of weird, yeah, emotional, you know, I said that's the other thing is probably her feeling to Kazuma. She wants him to like her, right? Not a love like, but like, please accept me as the greatest priest and goddess. He's like, no. I hate you, yeah. But he's like, no, I don't, because I hate you, woman. Yeah, it's more like that, right? And step you see it in Isekai Quarter 2. Where she's like, no one believes, oh my god, Kazuma. No one trusts me. He's like, no one believes me, yeah. Like, that's a big thing, right? And Tanya's like, that's not a god, that's not being, and so on, right? That's her desire, right? Mainly to be like, join the Axios cult and so on. So I think in particular there too, it's just a strange take on it. Oh, this is extra transphobic because the three horrible female characters that we all know are horrible female characters, they also are kind of agreeing. It's like, yeah, but you know, it reminds me of X-Men, Apocalypse, whatever the movie is called, when Apocalypse is there, and he's like, the scene he was strangling Mystique was on billboards, right, and had to remove it because it was so anti-female. Oh my god, no! But it's like, but that's the really bad guy, because people were arguing that, oh no, that thing is like, you know, it's, it's motivating to, you know, look at this movie, and look at the character the movie doing, then I should also hurt females. But it's like, that's the bad guy that's doing that. That's the really, really bad guy that wants to destroy the planet bad guy, or at least kill all the humans bad guy, and then take over the planet bad guy. Like, that bad guy is doing that. And it's like, I don't think people in general are like identifying with the bad guy. I think people are like, oh, that's a really, really bad guy, and what he's doing is wrong, right? So, but whatever, I think it's also that, right? And I think the same thing here with the girls. Because, like, again, Like, how many people are like, I want to be like Aqua, she's a great goddess. How many people want to be like Aqua? Or, I want to be that useless Megumin that can do one spell per day. That's a great party member, yeah. I want to be like her. And the author even says that in the same context too. Like, he's like, oh yeah, they're all really, all of the party members hate trans characters. Oh, they're so bad. And the next comment he's writing like, and Megumin, the classic really douchebaggy party member, that's always trying to frag you or something, and always trying to steal the kill you. It's not true though. Megumin is really into that. She is, but also more into explosions, right? She's not even into fragging. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically he's implying, which I feel whatever. My point here is that the author knows or identifies that Megumin is a horrible party member to her own party. So why would she be like, oh, a trans girl? How nice. She's like, screw you, bitch, explosion. Yeah, that's Megumin, right? Yeah, like why would she be like, I will explode you greatly. Yeah, that's Megumin, right? So I think that's funny too. Funny and sad, right? How it's like, well, I'm going to argue that this is extra spicy transphobic. Because all the 4 horrible characters that we all know are horrible characters are horrible to a Futanari. So I'm going to argue that it's very transphobic because they're all horrible. They're all horrible, right? I think my last point here, I love the comparison, right, to Seinfeld and Konosuba. And of course I love Seinfeld. Amazing TV show, right? Amazing TV show. And it's very, very similar, the prison scene and so on, right? And the ending and so on. But Seinfeld is also known for that, right? That there are 4 horrible people. And I love that scene, Seinfeld, like, you 4 should never have met. Because you're the worst 4 combination of humans ever, right? As the judge says in Seinfeld. Like, you're a horrible combination of people. You shouldn't be friends, you're horrible together, right? That's kind of like Konosuba. I think they're actually less than that. I think Seinfeld is more like you're really horrible together, yeah. Konosuba probably is actually less. But still, though, you're horrible together, you're 4 idiots, you're 4 people with issues and so on, right? It makes the world around you horrible, but you happen to save the planet or kind of beat the demon lords eventually by some kind of thing. But generally, you're really bad people, right? Yeah. So of course you're gonna be bad to people. Of course you're gonna be bad to the futa. Like, what do you expect, right? What do you expect? So, just yeah. And I don't think people are identifying either, for that matter, with the Konosuba cast. At some parts, I think you're identifying with them. Like, oh yeah, I'm kind of like Aqua in that. I think people definitely are. Some of the bad traits of them. But I don't think anyone want to be darkness. Oh, I want to get art all the time. I don't think anyone's like, yeah, that's my dream life. So, actually, she's not having a dream life because she's failing getting art. But you know what I mean. But yeah, altogether, like a ridiculously bad review. It's offensive, in my opinion, to trans people. From my point of view, yeah, offensive, right? No understanding of what a tsundere character is, or so on. He doesn't understand Aqua tsundere. That's probably the dumbest thing. I think that's the dumbest thing. That's probably dumber than not knowing that Sylvia is a Futanari character, monster Futanari girl character. It's probably worse thinking that Aqua tsundere, because it shows you how absolutely no expertise this person has in anime, right, and manga and so on. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's horrible. And then, of course, yeah, not understanding that, she's not a trans character because she never transitioned from being male to female. And I mean, the author's been writing like, oh, she's clearly like, in her transitioning states from like having, a musume female body, but still having her male members. She's kind of in that state. Like, what? No, she clearly has both genders. She's a freaking monster. She's not even a human, and she's never transitioned from anywhere. And of course, she's gonna, as I mentioned with my 3 character, I think it makes sense, right? As with her and most succubus and hentai and so on. Of course, she wants to sleep with both male and females of humans, because from her race, her species, they only have one gender, so she sleeps with everyone, because it's like that's how they do it, right? Of course, yeah. But, yeah. So that makes sense. And then again, of course, also, why is all the darkness and Megumin orgasm and so on? Why is that fine for? That's fine. Not complain about that. The anime was so perfect until Sylvia arrived. Everything else was just PC and SUV, yeah. But then Sylvia arrived. Oh, no, you can't do that. Again, right, that makes it more offensive to trans people. But anyways, that's my take on it. Really upset me. You know I am. I want to make videos when I'm angry. No, but this is not always. But I think this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous, and this really failed on so many parts. I also want to show a lot of hentai scenes, right? That's why I also do the thing. Yeah. Oh man, where's my favorite? Run is good. I like this in here though. I like this in here because it's like kabedoning you. When the foot kabedons you better be afraid, right? So, but that's okay. One last point I can say then. I mentioned it kind of briefly, but I don't understand this either with forcing people to, it's a difference between tolerance and acceptance, right? It's like, yes, you should definitely tolerate people being transsexual and tolerate people being gay and so on. But a gay person shouldn't be able to force you to be, you have to love me because I am gay. And if you don't want to make love to me, then you're like, then you hate gay people, right? That's ridiculous. Yeah, I would never do to anyone. That's kind of how it feels too. That the author is like, well, Kazuma better like that cock because he's straight, but he better take it anyway because, like that, well, he's transphobic. It's kind of how the author say too, right? Like Kazuma has to not only accept that she's a footage, he has to also like it, right? Or at least like bend over and take it, yeah. That's a really weird stand to have too. I didn't even cover that much, I guess, but I feel that's just obviously ridiculous. That you have to like the sexual, and I think it's weird too because then it means that, let's say I meet a cute guy, and I will do the same thing, right? Or let's take a typical example. Let's say a guy sees this cute girl, but he's really fat. Not like me, because I'm muscular. My guy's really fat, but yeah, like a fat, a hefty guy, right? He sees this cute girl in the street, and he asks her out, and he's like, oh, I don't like fat guys. He's like, well, you're a fattist, so if you don't sleep with me now, you hate fat people, yeah, so you have to do it now. That would obviously be like, she would call the cops and be like, this guy is harassing me, yeah, and so on, right? So that's strange, right? That would be like, yeah, obviously you can't force someone to like your physical appearance, right? Or someone asks me to, I can't sleep with you because you have a beard. Yeah, I'll be like, well, you have to. Like, yeah, that would be strange. That's ridiculous. And why is that okay when apparently even arguably a trans character does it? Then you have to be like, oh, I love me some penises. I mean, I personally do, but you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Kazuma, which is clearly is a very, very straight character in this storyline, he has to be like, oh, a futa, how nice. But yeah, it makes sense though. It makes sense though. I'll give it a spoiler. I'm writing my own isekai, right? And in my isekai is gonna be a hyena character, and of course she is gonna be a futa because hyena's female already has kind of like a penis. So of course I'm gonna. Well, actually, probably I haven't decided yet. I wish she have both genders, or she has like a female penis, which they actually literally have. Yeah, hyenas has literally a female penis. So that's be interesting. I'm trying to write it. I'm trying to figure out how to write that thing. But yeah, for example, right, and I'm saying that because it's a fantasy storyline, right? Konosuba, fantasy, isekai, right? And they have different races. They have, they have slimes and so on, right? Yeah, but it's like, this is how it is, right? They have monster girls, they have demons and so on. They have soccer buses, a lot of them, yeah. And when you write those stuff, when you see anime and manga and so on, it's funnier if they have different genders, or maybe they have two penises, right? Maybe they have that thing, yeah. Maybe they have the kangaroo thing where they have like double up and so on, right? Like yeah, sure. If I wrote an isekai anime or a manga, I guess I'm a bit novel to begin with, but if I wrote an isekai and I had a kangaroo male character, he would for sure have two. He would have two dicks, of course, right? Of course he had. Like in Killing Bites with the guy in two dicks. Yeah, of course they would have two dicks because that's how they have it, right? Yeah. If you make a humanoid half this, half kangaroo, whatever, of course I'm gonna give it like a double thing, of course. Like, that's funny. That's funny. We have some jokes about so on. Of course, we try to make it funny, right? Because it's a fantasy storyline. Anyway, that's a long video. I love Konosuba. The movie was great. The movie is freaking fantastic. And the novels are great too. So, I mean, I've read the novels. But so, yeah. But it is great. It's absolutely... Go see the movie. If anything, I would say that this woke take on it, it's review bomb. I think that's a little overkill though, because it's not that much people that actually. Review bomb for me is like a lot of people doing it. Whatever. It just tells you it's a good movie, right? Oh, it's not PC and woke. Great movie. It means they actually have jokes that aren't boring. Yeah, that's probably what it means in real life. So anyway, go and see the movie, guys. Subscribe, press the like button. And I'll see you guys with the next, I don't know, angry rant video. I don't know. We try to make some good videos which aren't ranting and so on. But it's easier to, I feel kind of like, yeah, let's get a little angry here about this shitty review. So anyway, see you guys and have a great day.